The 2016 NHL draft is one of the best high talent drafts of the past decade. The players from this draft are entering their primes right now, so let's head back and revisit this draft to see which players should have been taken lower and which players should have been taken higher based on what we know about their games today. Now, before we get into this, I make daily NHL and hockey videos, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that now, and let's get right into it. The first pick of the 2016 NHL draft is Austin Matthews, and this one was a no-brainer for Toronto. Austin Matthews is arguably one of the greatest scorers in the NHL and maybe the most marketable player in the league. Matthews has 600 points in 527 games played, won the Calder Trophy in his rookie season, has 2 Rocket Richards, a Hart Trophy, a Ted Lindsay Award, and is currently on pace to score 70 goals with 40 goals in 48 games played this season. Matthews has been the clear best player from his draft and will be the highest paid player in the NHL next season. I think everyone can agree Matthews remains the first overall pick in this draft, and especially in my redraft. With the second overall pick, the Winnipeg Jets select Patrik Laine, and early in his career, Laine was considered almost an identical match to Matthews. Laine had 3 seasons with 30-plus goals while with the Jets, and eventually was traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets after a bit of locker room issues with Winnipeg, where since then he has now been injured for most of the time with the Blue Jackets and really just hasn't lived up to the contract expectations. At the moment, Laine has entered the NHL Player Assistance Program to work on his mental health so he can get back to playing the game that he loves. And if you look back to the early stages of his career, there's no denying the potential of Laine. But you know what they say, the best ability is availability, so rather than selecting Laine, the Winnipeg Jets instead take Matthew Kachuk with the second overall pick. Kachuk was originally selected by the Calgary Flames as the 6th overall pick in this draft, but is moving up because of how fantastic he's been since joining the league. Matty Kachuk has 542 points in 559 games played, and just last season he took the Florida Panthers all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. Kachuk is the perfect player to build a team around, and his potential is unmatched from this draft. Kachuk has taken over Laine in my redraft. I think he would be a great piece for the Winnipeg Jets, and he's a special talent for this league. With the number 3 overall pick, the Columbus Blue Jackets select Pierre-Luc Dubois. Dubois has been a solid 60-point-a-season player while starting with the Blue Jackets, Jets, and Kings. But his play is a bit inconsistent and not really worth the 3rd overall pick, especially with some of the other players that were taken below him in this draft. Instead of Dubois, the Columbus Blue Jackets select Adam Fox with their 3rd overall pick. Now, I know there was some draft day drama with Fox, who really just wanted to play with the Rangers, so who knows if he would have actually went to Columbus, but hey, this is a fantasy redraft, so it doesn't really matter, right? Adam Fox has already won a Norris Trophy and is considered a top 3 defenseman in the NHL. With the Blue Jackets selecting Zach Werenski the year before in the 2015 draft, they would be setting themselves up with one of the best defensive top lines in the league if they selected him at number 3 overall. With the number 4 overall pick, the Edmonton Oilers select Jesse Puljujarvi, and in his best season with the Oilers, he had around 36 points in 65 games played. Puljujarvi is a bottom 6 forward at best and really wasn't worth the pick for the Oilers, but recently he just signed with the Pittsburgh Penguins and should be a nice depth piece for that team. Instead of Puljujarvi, the Oilers answer one of their biggest roster questions by adding Charlie McAvoy with their 4th overall pick. McAvoy has been a stud since entering the league and is the best defenseman for the Boston Bruins. Arguably, McAvoy has been a top 5 defenseman in the league and would be a perfect answer for the Edmonton Oilers. Taking him would make the Oilers an instantly better roster, and Puljujarvi was just kind of a bust, so I think any Oilers fan would be thrilled to have McAvoy on their team. With the 5th overall pick, the Vancouver Canucks select Olli Juolevi, and let's just say that he's been a bit of a bust since currently he's not even playing in the league. With the Vancouver Canucks having such an amazing season, imagine if instead this team selected Tage Thompson. Now, Tage Thompson has 225 points in 340 games played and has really excelled in his role with the Sabres over the past 2 seasons. In fact, last year he finished with 94 points with his career best 47 goals. Thompson would be a great addition to this Canucks roster today and would make this team an even bigger contender for the Cup if he was on this team. With the 6th overall pick, the Calgary Flames selected Matthew Kachuk, and while it was a good pick for the Flames, in the end the two just couldn't reach a contract, leading to a trade that has really set this franchise back. Instead of taking Matthew Kachuk, since he will be taken at number 2, the Flames select Clayton Keller with their 1st round pick. Keller has been the best player for the Arizona Coyotes with 387 points in 490 games played. Honestly, Keller has been an underrated player since entering the league and would be a fantastic franchise guy for the Calgary Flames if they selected him instead of Matthew Kachuk. With the 7th overall pick, the Arizona Coyotes select Clayton Keller, and with Keller being taken 1 pick earlier, Arizona will instead take Alex DeBrincat in his place. In 500 games played, he has 416 points with the Chicago Blackhawks, Senators, and now Red Wings. DeBrincat is a natural goal scorer and is very similar to Keller in points per season. The Coyotes did a nice job with their selection, but since Keller has been way better than what people anticipated, they'll take DeBrincat instead, which I still think is a nice option for Arizona. With the 8th overall pick, the Buffalo Sabres select Alex Nylander, brother of William Nylander. Unlike his brother though, Alexander hasn't really panned out, with his best season being 26 points in 65 games with the Chicago Blackhawks, and since then he's been playing with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, which means he's out of the league. Again, another guy in the top 10 who currently isn't playing for an NHL team. Rather than selecting Alexander Nylander, the Buffalo Sabres instead select Patrik Laine. Even with his injuries, there's no denying the potential of Laine when healthy. Laine would be a great winger on this Buffalo Sabres team, and imagine if they had paired him with Jack Eichel while he was in Buffalo. I feel like that team would have reached even better heights with those two, and it would have been such a fun line to watch. With the 9th overall pick, the Montreal Canadiens select Mikhail Sergachev, who was a great pick, but he never played with the Canadiens and has since been with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Instead of Sergachev, the Canadiens select Jacob Chitron, who honestly would be a perfect fit for this roster. Chitron is a solid top 4 defenseman, similarly to Sergachev, but I think his game fits more in line with the young core of this Canadiens team more than Sergachev's would. Montreal could use a solid top 4 defenseman today, and this pick working out would only make the rebuild process even quicker for this team, and I think fans would love to have Chitron in a Montreal Canadiens jersey. With their 10th overall selection, the Colorado Avalanche select Tyson Jost, but instead, since he didn't really pan out, I think they should take Jesper Bratt with their pick. Jost is a bottom 6 forward at best, while Bratt has been a solid hidden gem from this draft. In 436 games played, Bratt has 336 points and was just in his first All-Star game. Bratt was taken in the 6th round of the draft and definitely deserves a higher selection. Put him on this Colorado Avalanche team today and they would have another star forward to go with their already star-studded roster. But that's my redraft for the NHL 2016 draft. Let me know what you guys think about my picks in the comments below. If there was a guy maybe I missed who should have been taken higher, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.